Entertainment.
Edutainment.
Hey, I
Shout
want
out.
P to see this shit. I want P to see this shit and say, hey, I'm gonna take y'all advice and not be in the design room.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, said I'm gonna be the true CEO boss that I am and put people who are specialists in this in that versus saying,
In place.
oh, I got an idea. Oh, I got an idea. You know?
Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo.
All right, welcome to the Rancher's Kid podcast. Young Goob to God. I got my homeboy Ant in the building. My
What's
homeboy
happening?
long time from Tally. We're gonna be chopping it up about a multitude of topics, really focusing in on Master P, Baron Davis, the purchase of the Reebok company, and really what are they gonna do with this situation?
I love your last name. What is it? It's French, bitch. How do you say it? Is it Veus? No. It's Venus without the N.
Without the ear.
Yeah, that's the
Without
best
the
way I can explain that bitch.
just say it how
I'm
you
a
see
planet.
it.
Yeah, bro. I'm a
Yeah.
whole planet out here.
Yeah, you can just say it how you see it. All right, so we're gonna talk in review. You heard anything about Baron Davis and Master P buying the Reebok?
I did hear that. Do you think it's cap?
I think they're gonna be the front man for it. About if anything, gonna be anything. I don't. I know they ain't got $2.4 billion to put in the Reebok, but I
Nah,
believe it's a possibility of some sort.
nah. The real question is, can Reebok be profitable? Can Reebok? Would you invest in Reebok in this climate?
In this climate, would I
Oh,
invest in Reebok?
yeah.
Really
Like you
depend
got,
on what it really depend on what your plan is for it. You can't say that you just gonna make it. Well, I won't say you can't say that, but if you say, yeah, we're gonna be a black owned company, you obviously gonna be a black owned company. You don't necessarily have to say that. Once you buy that bitch, you just start doing shit and you start picking all the people or finding all the people who Nike not taking their designs from and start using them. Like everybody
I'm
who
saying
just
you
under
got
off white and go.
you got Paya Moss, which is that's Reebok. Paya Moss is a high end sneaker that was designed by I gotta think of Buddy name because I can't think of Buddy name right now, but he a black designer and he got a deal. Like he had his own clothing line. It is Kirby Jean Raymond. In fact, Kirby Jean Raymond is the dude that directed the Wale video.
Which Wale video?
I'm rooting for everybody that's black.
Okay.
Okay, so he was the director of that, but he a fashion designer, and he got a deal with Reebok. And if you look up Paya Moss,
How you spell his
he
first
got
name?
Kirby Kerby.
Oh, Kirby. I thought he said Paya.
No, Paya Moss is the name of his brand.
Oh,
Paya
okay.
Moss, Paya Moss. He got some dope shit. Like you know, his um his designs look super futuristic,
What's his
and
last
he
name?
got a
Kirby
deal.
what?
Kirby Jean Raymond.
Kirby Jean Raymond. And he got a deal with Reebok. Like I wonder how much of that deal is okay, okay, okay. I've seen this dude before.
Yeah, so he got the Reebok deal, and his stuff is kind of super high end. A lot of it is fresh. I don't know if I could pull it off.
Do you think they
Um,
should go high end or do you think they should try to do the Steph Marbury thing and make it affordable? Or just play the middle ground? You know what I'm saying? The middle ground usually leave you left out. So
was Reebok ever considered high end though?
no,
Outside of the question
no.
and the answer
They ain't have
and the
nothing
early Shaqs.
other than the classics. You can't find me nothing other than Reebok Iversons that I'm throwing on. Shaqs
It's
I
the
throw on for nostalgia. exclusively.
Instapump, you got the Instapump Furies that was super dope. That they was $100 Reebok sneakers.
They're gonna have to work purely on nostalgia.
Yeah, I mean that's most sneakers though. We
Yeah.
buying all this shit over again based off nostalgia.
We buying the same music over
Nike,
again based off nostalgia. Some people don't even know it.
we listening to the same music over again because a lot of
Who
this shit
just
is
used
terrible.
the sample? Oh, Travis Scott used the Goody Mob sample, the Cell Therapy sample. I didn't hear his song, but I heard it in the podcast when he was talking about it with Nori. I'm
Yeah,
like, they played it a little bit, or they played something, but they played they just played the Cell Therapy intro. Boom, 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 and no
you
matter
already
when
know
you
what
hear,
it is.
no matter when you hear. So does Reebok have any Cell Therapy other than the Iversons? And they done flooded the
they got
market with those. They got who?
yeah they the Iversons they doing them like the Jordan 1. They doing
Yeah.
a bunch of color. They did the Kobe. They did the Kobe Gold. Even though
Mhm.
Currency, who I think got one of the top albums of the year and
Yeah, he on my
Outrunners.
list. He's on my list. He could have. I put him on my list. We'll talk about it, but just because he got so much good shit, it's like which pick, put Currency on the list and
Which
just
was pick.
what I'm
But
saying.
they did a collaboration with him, the Jet Lives, which came out pretty dope.
I
I don't
just
know if
saw him with
you
some
seen
shoes online today.
I think he got a bait deal too.
They
They
talked
got his
about
own.
Bape. Pharrell talked about Bape.
What you think about bait?
I never got into Bape. You know what I'm saying? I never been into not over luxury brands, but overpaying for what I felt like ain't showed me what it was. I always thought Bape was dope, but Bape got bought out. Like it's owned by somebody different than originally. I
I
forget the
think
dude name.
Nigo started bait.
Yeah,
Babe,
right.
Babe is the Air Force One for people that didn't want to be part of a trend and just wear Air Force Ones.
Yeah, because it.
But it's an Air Force One. It's just the Air Force One. It was hard to get.
Yeah, it's an Air Force One with a different logo on the side.
Different logo. It just don't have a check.
Yeah,
It
it
just
got a
has a
star.
top.
It just got a shooting
Yeah.
star. They took the same
But
silhouette. They even talked about that as well in that pod.
why Nike never sued Babe for the design?
The same reason they don't sue anybody else for stealing a silhouette similar to anything else that they put out. I think it helped them. It helped them. It helped the original from where it come from because people gonna be like, it is this. It is a Air Force One with a star on it. That's how you gonna describe it.
That's pretty much how you gonna
You know what I'm
describe
saying? That's how you're gonna
it.
describe it. So that could help or hurt it, depending on what you do with that connection to the brand, to that other brand. So it's. But what Reebok gonna do?
I don't know, bro. Now I could kind of see why P would be interested in buying Reebok just because when we first started listening to the Hot Boys and shit like that, they was wearing soldieries.
Yeah.
Everybody in the Orleans was
Mm-hmm.
wearing Reebok classics. So
Mm-hmm.
it could be sentimental. It could be a sentimental thing where he just, outside of it being an investment opportunity and being able to own a major sneaker brand, um, it could be sentimental, it could be whatever. But
A $2.4 billion sentimental purchase. Like it gotta be, I'd be thinking it'd be like at least 10 cats, maybe 20 in this conglomerate that's gonna buy the company. I definitely don't see him and Baron Davis buying individually.
it's gonna definitely be investors. Now, do I
But
have any sentimental attachments to Reeboks? No. But there are Reeboks that I feel like they can retro. They need the retro black tops.
yeah,
I think black tops will sell well. I think you just like because when they introduced black tops, just like how Jordan had those classic commercials with Spike Lee. I don't know if people remember, but Sinbad was in black top commercials, and it was like the 2-inch vertical.
I'm gonna look
You
up the
remember?
commercial and I'm gonna play the commercial. I'm gonna throw it in the corner while we going. I'm not with the music
Bruh,
because they probably won't let me play it like that. But I'll put up that Sinbad just as a reference, just in case anybody forgot, because that's why you want. That's why you here, because you remember.
I remember everything, bro. Two inch vertical. Sinbad used to be on the court, and part of the thing, his whole thing was he only had a 2 inch vertical, and it was Reebok black. And I owned several pair of black tops.
I remember the black
Several.
top. The black top could be dope coming out right now. It could. It
Do you
would
know
be.
why do you know why the Air Raid was created? The Nike Air Raid was created to compete with the Reebok black top. It was an outdoor sneaker.
Right.
Nike had no sneakers that you could wear outdoors. Like they had no. So the Air Raid was actually
Yeah, man.
created
They released some black tops now. They're gonna sell out immediately, even though they are.
immediately.
You know what I'm saying? They some monsters. You know what I'm saying?
Black tops
They
was
ain't
dope.
sleek,
Reebok
but
black
they
tops
dope.
was
They are dope. I'm looking at colorways now. You know what I'm saying? That's dope.
dope.
I remember my high
You ain't
school
got
team wanted to play in the Rain Mans with the kind of
the
like that
Sean Kemp.
Sean Kemp's, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And them joints, the white and green. My old boy ain't bound for me. I had to play in something else, but it's a story for another day.
And then you got history. You got the D Browns. You know what I'm saying? D Brown, when he won the dunk contest, he won them in Reebok pumps. Not sure. I can't remember if they was black tops or not, but
They might have been black
I
tops
want
with pumps because I'm looking at them right now. They look like black tops, similar silhouette with a pump. You know
I
what I'm
think
saying?
I want to say that it was
Yeah, they
Reebok
were
black top.
battlegrounds. Yeah,
Exactly.
battleground. Yeah, I'm looking at some tribals. They got pumps. Like they can come. They kind of. This one kind of look like a 6 or a 7. Is the Reebok battleground. So, but they got some nostalgia to pull from. But it's gonna be a. Would do you? Could they get a major athlete to sign with Reebok and put out a shoe that'd be worth a damn? Like
You could. You got Kawhi signed with New Balance, and they had a basketball sneaker in years.
Puma got a whole bunch of people signing with them.
Puma got Kyle Kuzma. They
Yeah,
got a bunch of people.
they
So
got all the young boys signing with them.
now, how much of that does Hove affiliation with Puma got to do with all the young boys signing with Puma? If Hove wasn't connected to Puma,
Oh yeah, yeah, that's all
would
right.
people?
Yeah,
I'm not saying that the because I got a pair of the RS Dreamers. I got a pair of the Puma J Coles that all them boys hooping
yeah.
in. The Clyde Revamps. It's a quality shoe. Like it's a good shoe. But there's a lot of companies that make quality shoes, but people are more attracted to the name. So now I think Hove being affiliated with Puma, he's doing exactly what the vision was. He's bringing top athletes to the brand, and
Yeah,
everybody want to be affiliated with
with
Jigga.
Jigga. Yeah, everybody
Uh,
want to be affiliated with Jigga. And I
so
was and I was just gonna say, like, we grew up on athletes making a sneaker, like it was an athletic shoe. So of course it was a natural link between the athlete and the shoe, the sneaker. What about the influencer? Everything is a collab now. Like, is the designer the new athlete? Is the off-white the new, but they doing it to an athlete shoe. But is the designer as much of an influence on this brand as the athlete that they sign?
I think the designer is definitely probably a bigger influence than the athlete at this point because you look at the Virgils, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You look at what Virgil did with the Presto. You know, you took Presto, you threw off white on it. Presto was a popular shoe when we was coming up, but and then look at the AM90, and then look at the Nike Blazer, and look at
If,
Chucks and all the shit that you throw
right,
off
like,
white on. People into it.
so could Reebok do something like that? Could they get a off-white Reebok? Could it be an off-white Iverson? Could it be an
Would
off-white black top? Oh, an off-white black.
Yeah, if you get a dope designer, I know, you have Melody Asani. She's worked with Nike and she's
Yeah, the
worked with
off-white
Reebok.
Prestos, they dope.
They dope.
They
They
dope.
cold.
They cold.
But Prestos was always
Yeah,
cold.
Prestos
If
is
you look at
always cold.
Prestos,
Yeah,
they was always a good sneaker. It's a
yeah,
light sneaker. We ain't never seen nothing like it.
yeah.
Could
It fit my
Reebok do a
lifestyle.
collaboration? I think could Reebok collab with a designer and have the same success as Nike and Off White? I mean, possibly.
It's possible.
So Jerry Lorenzo, you know who Jerry Lorenzo is. He the creator of Fear of God.
Yeah.
He went to FAMU. He a FAMU alum too. A lot of
Shout
people don't
out.
know that.
You know
Shout
what? They
out.
don't put him up on. I just watched the 10 I did not watch, but I saw 10 FAMU alumni. He wasn't on that list. They ain't put him
Yeah,
on
but
that list.
he played baseball for FAM too. I want to say.
That's
So
probably
he was
why they
not
ain't
on
put
the
him on the
FAMU
list.
alum. He played sports with FAM, but he Fear of God was doing a collaboration with Nike. Jerry Lorenzo had a Nike collab. He recently left Nike, and he's going to be doing work with Adidas. So what's going on at Nike? Kanye created a great sneaker. He created great silhouettes. They sold like hotcakes, even though they was hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up leaving Nike for Adidas. Jerry Lorenzo has had great collaborations with Nike that sold well. He leaves Nike for Adidas. Is it a situation where Nike will not give the creators the power or the royalties that they want, and Adidas is willing to do that? Let's also keep in mind that Adidas was the first sneaker company to sign non-athletes, which was
And that's where Mike was going. When that Mike, well,
and that's
Mike,
right.
that's where Mike was going.
He was teetering
Yeah,
with Adidas, and
that's where
then
Mike was
Nike like
going.
we'll give you your own shoe. So what's happening at Nike?
Nike is a behemoth, so of course they gonna rule with a big stick. They feel like even they can do a DA. They feel like we did a DA, we gonna do it to you too, Jerry. Like if
Or
that's the
like
case,
hallway,
yeah,
the
like
hallway or the
you
highway.
putting it on our shoe. We giving you the platform to do this. If you go and make your own shoe, you go make a Yeezy without a Nike or without an Adidas, then what is it going to do? Like he went on this rant. Hi, Sway. They won't let me into the production thing. Da, 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 da. And so is it the corporation wielding its big stick saying, get in, not whether get in line or not, we run this aspect of it. We ain't gonna let you get too big. Or is it they don't even realize the power? I won't even say they don't realize. They gotta see it. They see these resales on everything. That's a collab.
Yeah. So is it
Oh, it's the
is it
machine.
Nike not relinquishing power? Is
They not paying. They
they
not
advantage
willing
too
to.
big?
Yeah, they not. They. First of all, they are probably too big to fail. They got too big of an audience and people who just buy Nikes in general, even outside of people like us who just sneakerheads to fail. And as a result, they can wield that big stick in their opinion. So they're gonna let Kanye leave because it's gonna be a Jerry Lorenzo behind him, something like that, or a Virgil to do something with. They treat it like, let's say like Nike is like the NFL versus Adidas being like the NBA.
Right.
Adidas putting their stars out there.
Yeah.
Nike putting their stars out there, but it's the star shoe.
Yeah.
Nike, like they do it with Travis Scott. They for some reason he's a star with them.
But Travis Scott, do we know if Travis Scott is just content with making dope collaborations and saying I got my own shoe and Cactus Jack? Is it he's not looking at the bigger picture? Do you think Nike gave him a better deal than they gave Kanye? Or is it just that Travis Scott, he's cool with just saying, I'm doing it for Jordan, I'm affiliated with Nike, I'm affiliated with the Jordan brand, and maybe down the line, he may have certain requests or certain demands that he want Nike to fulfill, and that's when they put the ceiling in place and say, "Yo, nah,
Yeah.
we ain't."
I'm sure there's always going to be a ceiling with Nike. Nike going to have a certain level of ceiling, I feel. But, and we just going to keep going. But if an individual or a group of individuals, now you start thinking about putting Jerry, Yeezy, Travis, Virgil into a situation where now they create their own sneaker line, and they four flagship shoes are for their own flagship silhouettes that that is something that they presented to these other companies that didn't fly, that they really enjoyed and that the company didn't think would fly. And now like they start they own Nike. Like, is that even a possibility? It,
I
for
think it is.
for for the creative to get out of the to not just jump on the back of the machine, to kind of build a machine of its own, because they the ones it's like the king of the kingmaker.
I think it's possible. I mean, there's I've been reading some stuff over the past couple days. Don't know how true it is. Yeah, but knowing the type of individual that he was and that he aspired to be and who he actually became. There's been little articles out there that saying Kobe was actually planning on leaving Nike and starting his own sneaker brand. So I definitely believe somebody like Kobe, who had been signed to Adidas and then ended up signing with Nike and was a Nike athlete for years. And everybody all the designers say Kobe was super involved with the design of his shoe,
Yeah.
every aspect of it.
Even
So
the
I'm pretty sure
re-release of this new one, he was like, it had to be an upgrade to it if we were going to release it, not just release the same shoe.
exactly. So I think somebody like Kobe, who I'm pretty sure had a grasp of the inner workings of shoe design because of just who he was. I think and I truly believe that somebody like Kobe could have ventured off, started his own sneaker brand, and it would have been successful. And I think because of the type of following that Kobe had, which he continues to have, I
Yeah.
think that it would have been successful. Would it have been Nike successful? Who knows? But
You
I
can't
think
expect somebody, you can't compare yourself to Nike out the gate. You're never going to be Nike out the gate.
out the
You
gate,
may have a
exactly.
year of revenue that competes with an element of Nike, but they got the snowball too big to say, we're going to knock Nike out in 3 years. Yeah, you're
And
going to
that's
need a
never
20, 30 year. It take generations.
and that should never be the goal. Like
No.
when you from the goal is just to be as successful and self-sustaining as possible, and then eventually as the bar, because you got to feel like you say this Nike shit, this 40, 50 years in the making.
Yeah, it's ingrained.
So like companies like Under Armour, who you know, in our time, I never saw a sneaker company. I never imagined a sneaker company coming into that space and making that kind of noise until Under Armour, I believe, is what will make people believers. Obviously, they have corporate backing. Obviously, they have a bunch of money to work with. Um, Obviously, I think that they have something to offer athletes just for the simple fact that a few years ago, Nike and Under Armour won the bidding war for Kevin Durant,
Yeah,
a major bidding war at
yeah.
that. So obviously they have something to offer. They do have Steph Curry. They have Cam Newton. The last time I checked, Cam was still signed with Under Armour. So they definitely were able to come into the sneaker space, cut out their own lane, and make some noise. Um, can they sustain that? Who
It
knows? Only
it
time will
depends
tell.
on what they do with the momentum that they create in the beginning. Like once again,
Right.
we said it initially it was the athlete that was the draw to the shoe, because XYZ now is a athlete and a creator. It's like putting
Yeah.
these two together to create something. So Under Armour, I know Under Armour is something a little something that I heard on the podcast. Under Armour has the potential of being purchased by Peloton
I heard about that too.
to become like there because Peloton is focused on performance. Under Armour focuses on performance. That kinship could grow to something that's definitely outside of the shoe realm, but that influence of people who own that bike will now start to look for a shoe in that same lane, and that just leads to other things. Your ability to influence the people that you directing is what makes you a good company or
So
who you affecting.
I pose this question. When you think about today's athletes and how, athletes when we was growing up, they had like a certain mystique. You had the
Right.
Charles Barkley, you had the Patrick Ewings, which let's not forget the Ewings were a major shoe.
The Ewings
You
were a
had,
major shoe without the so-called major label behind them. They
yeah,
were the Ewing, I'm sure was somebody, but
which I could be wrong, but I think it was Adidas because I think Pat was an Adidas athlete.
it could have been at
I
that
could
time
be wrong.
because we know that Adidas was going after basketball players at that
Yeah,
time.
so I think it was Adidas at the time, and then but athletes back then had a certain mystique. You had the Jordans, you had the AIs, you had the Charles Barkleys, you had the Bo Jacksons, um, and they just we were really we really felt connected to the athletes during that time. You think about Chris Webber, you think about David Robson, you think about the sneakers that they wore at that time. Also, when athletes would present a new sneaker, I remember doing when we was Jits. I remember doing All Star Weekend. We always couldn't wait for All Star because we knew Mike was breaking out the
New
new Jordan
shoes.
colorway.
Because his
We
birthday was
knew.
right around that same time.
So we knew.
And
So
we
it was a certain speed that those athletes had that made us feel connected to the shoe. And I don't know if that mystique exists today. I don't
Nah,
think
I
it's
don't
a
think so because they're more tangible. They're easily to access versus to do the social media. Like that mystique
yeah,
was a mystery. Like when I first found
right,
out that Michael Jordan cussed like a nigga, I'm like, this man, you know what I'm saying? It break a barrier. You assume him to be a certain person because you put this mystique to him because he's on the television. And back then, to come on the TV was a big thing. Like if you
right,
were on the television, not on the news now, you know what I'm saying? You can mess around and slip and be on the news. But if you was on
right.
TV, you was somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, and Mike was the
I don't
most
think I
somebody
don't
of
think
somebodies.
I don't think artists, athletes, I think because of social media, the mystique is gone. Like I
Mhm.
think about growing up being a Wu-Tang fan and seeing them on TV. And I remember when they had like back in the day, MTV had did this, America is dying slowly, and they had like Wu Tang
America is
and Puff
dying
and hey, yeah,
slowly.
well, I respect this. America is dying slowly. I remember they did that, and I remember it was on TV, and I remember it was a thing to see like Raekwon and Ghost and the Tommy Hilfiger polo, the way they wore that shit. It was a thing to see like Puff come on with Lil Kim, and that's the first time they perform fake ones, and you
Yeah.
see Puff moving on. It was because
Colored
you didn't see it like that.
sunglasses.
Sunglasses.
You know what
So
I'm saying?
them niggas was like unicorns.
It was
You know what I'm saying?
dynamic.
Like, yeah,
It was
it was great.
dynamic. It was rare. It was rare. It was foreign. It was damn near alien to a degree, especially to be
Yeah,
like you would see it, but it wasn't glamorized. Like do this
they
versus
was just
these
doing
people over
them.
here, right? Versus the people over there do that over, like you know what I'm saying? They be doing that
Yeah,
versus nah, we right here, us.
it
This is
it was like high school shit. Like you
mm-hmm.
as a when you when you first get in, like when you with your crew, y'all do you. Them people gonna do them, and it don't matter what it's like. What we did and what they did, it was completely different, but it got the same result
Right.
because people was gravitating toward what they like. Like it was what it was. So you had the athletes over here, you had the dope dealers over there, the little D boys in your high school. You had the
Mm-hmm.
little smart dudes who, and then you had like the neutral, the crew that just they didn't play sports. They just was cool.
Right.
But the result was the same, whether it was you was doing it to get girls, whether you was doing, but every cutout of that faction of your high school, there was a certain mystique. There was something about the athlete. There was something
Right.
about
That
B-boy.
made
There was
you right. That put you on the top.
crazy.
Yeah, that
Now all
made
y'all
you.
niggas look alike. All y'all look alike now. All y'all. So that mystique is gone. The very thing that draw, like the very thing that draw, like I was drawn to a Tribe Called Quest and Q-Tip and Fife for completely different reasons that I was drawn to the Wu-Tang Clan. The content was different, but they all had that mystique about them
And they
that
got
you
me to
gravitate.
the same place without having to take the same road to get there. Nigga, y'all ain't gotta ride in the same car. We got
Nah, we
our
still
own car. We got our own lane, nigga. We got our own highway if you want it. You ain't gotta
in the
jump in the
best.
same car just because he made it there. Oh, that's the car to get in there. Get in the car with this nigga so we can get there. Nah, dog. Nah.
Nah, and that's what made it fresh. That's what made it dope. That's what created the mystique. So when I even going back even further, when you talking about, I was an MC Hammer fan.
All the way live. Seen the same concert twice, him and Vanilla Ice.
Right.
Twice when they came to Miami Arena. He
So
came around twice.
when them boys when that dude would perform on award shows and he come out dancing, that shit was like a gravitational pull. You know what I'm saying? I remember my stepdad like, man, Hammer remind me of James Brown. Like the same
Yep.
deep, the same. And then to take it even further, you know what I'm saying, in terms of just, you was enamored with the people that you looked up to, but and they had a certain influence on you. But you could love Wu Tang, you could love Tribe Called Quest, you could love Outkast, but you could still continue to be you. It was different. Like even though I was a Wu Tang Clan fan, I'm from Florida, nigga, so I went walking around in towns because it's
That-
hot. But they still had influence. Like they still had influence on me, but they didn't influence me till I wanted to be them.
right. I didn't want to copy them. I wanted
I
to
didn't want to be
I
them.
wanted to take part of what they had and then boom out through me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's like you
my own
CeeLo talked
interpretation.
about it in the Nori pod. You embody it. Like it comes
Yeah, you invited that.
you ingest it, then you express it back out. That's exactly what it was. Like when I saw Cass when I was a young boy, I didn't walk around just trying to be Big Boy and Andre. But God damn it, if they wasn't embodying what I was trying to walk around and do as a kid, it was like it just resonates with you. It moved with
Yeah,
you. And
yeah,
because
it's,
they were different. They weren't the Woo, but I loved them like I love the Woo. They won the
yeah,
Tribe, but I loved them like I love Tribe. They
yeah.
won LL, but they hit me the same way LL hit me. The same
It
way
hit me this
NWA hit me. They won them, but it was different street, same destination, nigga.
same destination. And the dope thing about it was is that they didn't see like Kumo D and LL, everybody know about the beef, but I loved both of them.
Right.
People like people continue to do them like there it wasn't a bunch of carbon copies of each other.
It wasn't like Jeezy
Nobody,
and Gucci where you pick a side, even though it wasn't that level of beef. But
yeah,
even now, like because everything is over so dramatic due to social media and shit like that, you pick a side and you this and you that versus you enjoying the competition of this battle and beef. Like most of it back then it was about music.
yeah,
It wasn't about like this. I hate to keep referring to another pod, but CeeLo, the big homie CeeLo, say, man, that's some real gang shit over there, man. That
Yeah,
ain't rap shit. That ain't hip hop shit. That's
yeah,
gang shit. They set tripping for real.
yeah.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
think
That
I
that
think the
got
biggest
brought into music. That wasn't music doing that.
yeah. I think the biggest thing that um I think the biggest thing that like the youth, like people younger than us, and they need to understand is that all that shit could coexist because at one time it did. Like all those different types of hip hop, whether you want to say it was conscious, whether you say it was gangster, whatever it was, there was a period where all that shit coexisted and all that shit thrived, all of it and all of it was good music and everybody enjoyed it. Now that shit, I'm not gonna say it don't exist. I'm not gonna say that all these different aspects of hip hop and music don't exist because they do, and I'm not saying that they not coexisting because they are. It's just that the shit that's most popular is getting pushed to the forefront. The
Right.
shit is there.
Right.
I always compare like when you go to the club and you say, okay, I'm gonna wear this black shirt. And when you're looking at it in your house, the black shirt, it looks fine. It looks like, but then when you walk into the club and that black light hit
And
it, you
that
be like, where the
light
fuck
hit
all this
it.
lit come from?
Yeah.
All this light.
Yeah.
But shit was always there.
It was
It's just
always
that once
there.
that light hit it, it exposed it. So it's the same thing with the music. Like whether you want to say mumble rap is at the forefront or all these kids they druggies and they on drugs and nah, that's just what's being played. But there's a lot of great music that exists, but
That
it's
if you
not being
have that
good.
black light, and if you got
Right.
that light, you will see it. You
You
will
gotta go look
definitely.
for it.
You def all
You
right,
gotta
and
go
that's
look
the
for
thing about it now. Like before was, and I was about to say the algorithms do it now, and before it was a person, even though the
it. Yeah,
person was a human algorithm. The nigga at the store
yeah,
running the music store, they pushed the stuff to the front that they thought would sell, that was hot.
yeah.
The algorithm does the same for other reasons, like it could be manipulated to a degree or to a many degree.
Exactly,
You know what I'm saying? So,
exactly.
and that's those numbers versus that human element changes the dynamic on what you see first versus
Right.
exploring because it's all there. If you go and look in ABC order or chronological order on your title, like I went through and looked through all the albums of 2020 in hip hop, and god damn it, if it wasn't, it's 365 days in a year, it was 20 releases.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I couldn't imagine 700 albums coming out in 1995. Like going
Nah,
to Coconuts or going to this music store and 7 new albums came out this week. It'd be crazy. And half
it'd
of
be
them,
crazy.
you know what I'm saying? But shine a light. Maybe that was happening back then, but just like we say, we weren't shining that light on things or on the people who could be seen. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows?
Who
I
knows?
know the homie is kind of like how I discovered Little Brother in 2003 or whoever. My homeboy Troy, he bought me the listening as a birthday present. He like, "Dawg, I need you to check this out." And I went and listened to it, and I'm like, damn, bro, who is Fonte? You know what I'm saying? Who is Knife Wonder? Um, who are these guys who Quest Love is saying this is like the greatest shit since Tribe? Like, who is Big Pooh? Who are these people? And then I
Right.
listen to, and I'm like, damn, this album is phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? And then the next thing I know, Knife Wonder is producing on the Black Album. And then the
Right.
next thing I know, right. And then the next thing I know is like, okay, not only am I listening to the listening, I'm not only am I in the Little Brother, but now I'm actually into the Justice League. Like, who is Crisis? Not Justice League, the production crew, but the Justice League, the rap crew. Like,
Right.
who is El Comanche? Who is all these people from
Who are
Carolina?
all these I was about to say these country ass niggas. These country ass
Right.
niggas before Cole came country ass nigga. I didn't know it was country. But
Yeah.
not getting in the car with other niggas and doing what they doing.
Yeah, they just doing their own thing. And man, Fonte and Big Pooh, like them, like some of my favorite rappers from till this day.
You put
And
me on
they
a
was
foreign
not
exchange. You
the
put me
foreign
on
exchange.
you know what I'm saying? You was like, dog, listen to this.
Listen to this. You've
Listen
never
to
heard
this.
anything like this before. Like this shit sounds amazing. It made me feel like I was listening to a trap album or a De La Soul album,
Hmm.
but the
But like
song
on
sound
ice.
on ice.
Oh,
The
ice.
fucking the fucking Neanderthal. Like they took
Yeah.
DNA, froze it, and then in 2003, they like, we finna thaw this bitch out and we finna show y'all that you don't have to just be into the shit that's this driving radio right now. Like we got some
50.
different shit.
50 was driving radio. Like this was the end of Ja Rule, the beginning of 50, moving into the G Unit era where Scott Storch was dominating. It was like heavy beats and just it was early 2000s, you know what I'm saying? And sneaking out of the
This
not even sneaking, just being who they was and
this is this is the era where Jigga had to remind y'all that I respect the shooter. You know what
uh,
I'm
so you
saying?
said that is soon as you said this is the era of Jigga, and I started thinking back to tally them days from 2000 on. It was just the theme song to what everything we did. It was the soundtrack to
Oh
everything that
yeah.
was going on.
The
Like anything.
soundtrack to college for me was Cass because that's when they dropped fucking Quemini
Mm,
our freshman year. That's when they dropped during our college years, they dropped Stankonia, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And then
yeah.
you also had this education of Lauren Hill come out our freshman year.
Freshman
You
year,
had, you had goddamn Hard Knock Life Volume 2 come out our
our
freshman
freshman
year.
year, I think all on the
You had
same day, if not on the same within the same month.
within the same month, you had fucking Don Cartagena, Fat Joe,
I had that.
Drop.
I had that
You
big ass poster on the wall and in the foot, the big Don Cartagena, like a 4 foot fat Joe in the dog. That
and then D'Angelo dropped his second album, Voodoo, our
right.
freshman year in college. You know what I'm saying? Like it was so much. I think I want to say, uh, if I'm not mistaken, Things Fall Apart. The
Things Fall
Roots
Apart
came
was
out.
98. Things Fall Apart was 98. Yeah, it was a wonderful time, dog. It was of all these different characters. Like there were let's say cliques of people who had similar styles, but
Yeah,
not necessarily a whole just smushed together that everything that came on the radio sound like this.
yeah. And
Well,
then let's not forget that the Slim Shady LP came out our freshman year.
Shem Slady LP came out
And
freshman
then,
year. I remember I went and bought that joint at Vinyl Fever.
oh yeah, Vinyl
I went to
Fever, the
five
Holy
Vinyl
Grail
Fever
of
and bought that
music.
joint. Is that still
What
up?
else? No, that shit
No.
gone, man. You know what that shit is? That shit is it's a smoke shop and a laundromat.
I think the laundromat was next door the whole time. Did the laundromat get any bigger?
It was next door the whole time. The
Yeah.
vape shop, they turned Vinyl Fever into a smoke shop.
Damn. It's a hell of a smoke shop. Well, at least it's keeping the culture alive to some degree. You know what
I
I'm
was
saying?
doing that bitch hours inside Vinyl Fever.
Dog, catch the
And then
bus to Vinyl Fever, strobing through. That's why I say, like, you could find it if you was gonna go in the ABCD chronological order back in the subsections of what you're looking for and find the heat that you're looking for.
and let's not also forget, before we move on, another great album that came out our freshman year. And he was also part of the Dungeon family.
Slim
You
Cutter
know what
Cop.
that album was?
Oh no,
Cool
Cool
Breeze.
Breeze. Cool
Watch
Breeze.
for the hook.
Yeah. Yep.
Watch for the hook. It
Watch for
had the
the hook.
whole crew on that bitch.
Yeah. That man. That man. That man.
Hey, I heard
Uh,
that shit. I was like, well, what is this?
that was I'm telling them cats changed everything for a nigga, dog. They changed everything. They made it what a what they assumed to be a country nigga because we was from down south, but what we could be fly and not just like or Luke. Like either we
Yeah,
was booty shaking or we was like, we from slow Florida, from slow Georgia, whatever the fuck that may be. But Cass came
yeah.
out and it made everything. And Dungeon Family just like, oh no, this is what we gonna do, how we gonna do it.
They
Like
was scared of that shit. Like they was scared. Like
those are the literal words that I heard somebody say from New York. They
bro,
were
they was scared.
afraid of what was going
I,
on.
I remember watching a documentary and Jay-Z was on there and he said, hey, he told his crew, whatever y'all gonna do, y'all need to do it now because 50 is coming. You ever seen him? You ever seen that interview where he says he tell them,
I
hey,
remember
because
that.
that's how I felt like the industry felt when they first heard Outkast
And organized noise as a whole.
as a whole. And it's like, bruh, Puffy directed Players Ball. So therefore, I feel like Puffy, I don't think it was a money grab. This 93, 94. Puffy knew that this was gonna be some shit. And I think the industry was scared. I think there was a certain level of
One to
the,
find
the,
outedness.
the mundaneness of music at the time. And these guys from the South, they coming in because when you thought about the South, you thought about Ghetto Boys, which is great.
Right.
You thought
Which
about Scarface, you thought about Luke, you thought
yeah.
about Rap a Lot Records it was like
They
Rap a
were
Lot.
the
It was
South, yeah.
you was in Houston and you was familiar with like the Screwed Up Click or whatever. But I know me growing up in the South, I just knew Luke, I knew Poison Clan,
And I knew
and I knew
JT
Ghetto
Money. Yep.
just Money, and I knew Home Team,
Yeah.
and I was my brother was a huge Scarface fan, and anything outside of that, you wasn't really aware of with the South. So
Mm-mm.
when Outkast came, it was like, what the fuck is this?
Right. They won booty shaking. They won the Ghetto Boys. They
They wanted to get
weren't
a
they weren't anything that we had seen, and they was young enough because remember, like Luke was older than us, Scarface was older than us, even though Dre and Big Boy was older than us, but they weren't older than us like that. They was like your older cousin versus your uncle.
they like we in the ninth grade, them niggas in the 12th grade.
Yeah, exactly
Same
right.
school,
Yeah,
just a little bit older.
you know what I'm
And
saying?
I remember this dude. It's a gift from the curse. I remember everything. So this dude Antoine, his name was Antoine, boy. He was on my bus. And it's the same way I got introduced to Wu Tang Clan when I was in middle school is the same way I got introduced to Outkast.
On the
That boy
bus.
on the bus.
On
That
the
boy, he
bus.
he handed me. He said, "Yo, you got blank tapes at your house?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "You got like a recorder?" He was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yo, I got something I want you to listen to, but you could dub you a copy of it." He had like the original Southern Playlist cat. He handed me that tape like it was a dope deal. He like kind of slid it to me. I went home and I put it in. And when I heard Crumbling Herb and when I heard I think I had already heard I heard Players Ball
Players
on
ball
Raps.
early. Yeah.
I had already saw the video, but I still wasn't aware. And he slid me that tape. And I was like, I made a copy of it. I dubbed it, took it back to him the next day. I listened to it. Then I went and bought the CD. And then when I bought the CD and I opened up the CD and I see the naked sister with the afro puffs, I was like,
What
holy
the
shit.
vibes coming off of? Who is these niggas?
And I saw the tribe influence even on a CD cover.
Right.
The red, black, and the green. So
The
then
hand
I really
drawn, the hand drawn album cover, pretty much.
pretty much. So then I sat and I listened to it, and I was like, damn, I want to live like this.
Or they
I
talking
want,
about how I'm thinking about living. Like who done
yeah, bro.
jumped in my goddamn head and done started telling this shit that's going on in my god. Just like you say, your homeboy gave you the tape. Derek Mack came back from South Carolina with his Outcat with his tape. He said, "Dog, y'all got to listen to this." Say, dub that bitch. Cass was the first people I played for my mama. I was like, "Mom, listen to this. Listen to this." Outside of MC Hammer, because he was okay to listen to. You know what I'm saying? But back then, you couldn't play Luke. You couldn't play JT Money for your old girl. You couldn't play Poison Claire for your old girl. But that Cass,
bro.
Mom, listen to this. And it became, it's like, God damn, like, is you talking to me? How did
Dog,
you know?
when I let my Uncle Fafa, God bless him, when I let him hear Funky Ride, he say, man, I would have smoked weed to this back in the day.
Dog.
And that's what I knew.
Yeah.
They solidified, like, and then from that point on, my uncle started checking for Goody Mob, and he started checking for Outkast. My uncle was already into music anyway, but it's just different, dog.
It's right. And going back to the point that we get to just rehash on that everybody was different, even in cast. Big Boy and Dre weren't clone copies. They was damn near polar opposites of the same being. I just looked at Goody Mob. Timo is totally different from Gip Goody. But they're the same, they different degrees of the same thing, you know what I'm saying? CeeLo, look at it. Timo, Gip Goody, CeeLo, Cujo. Come on, dog.
Hey, I
totally say, boy, different characters.
When the scene unfolds, man. When the scene unfolds, who knows?
The scene unfolds, dog. The scene unfolds.
The scene unfolds. And when I be trying to like tell people about shit, like it's my opinion.
Yeah, that's what we give it.
One thing I always reference, CeeLo. Regardless of you listen to me, in the end, we'll see. And then they come back around, they be like, bro, that shit really dope. And even if you don't want to admit it to me, I'm gonna catch you slipping. I'm gonna catch you listening to some shit that
I'm gonna catch you. I'm gonna catch you like this. Cool about it. Yeah, what you all think when you told people you wasn't? I'm gonna catch you like this, young thug. Slipping. Young thug, I'm gonna catch you listening to. I'm gonna catch you listening to the T-shirt, the white T remix.
So what do you think about Young Thug saying that he never paid attention to 3 Stacks?
He on a podcast, dog. He talking, dog. He talking, dog. You know what I'm saying? The man obviously forgot that he wore a "I Want to Be Erica" and Andre jacket or some shit.
Is it possible?
It's fucking impossible. It's fucking impossible. At least to say you haven't heard "Hey Ya."
Is it impossible to grow up in Atlanta and say that you've never paid attention to Andre 3000 or Outkast at all? Is it possible?
Whether you wanted to or not, it was going on. And whether you wanted to or not, and I want to say whether you wanted to or not, he seems to have some degree of influence from Atlanta itself that they helped create. Like, you can't say I'm from ATL in 2020, 2021 and say Cass has no influence on me when Cass has influenced what Atlanta has become today. Like Atlanta, I won't say I'm not from there. First of all, I'm a Rancher's kid. This is the Rancher's Kid podcast. I'm not from there, but as a observer, Atlanta was growing. Cass jumped out, boom. Then it allowed people who was players, people who was so-called off the beaten path as far as personality go, to have an opportunity to express themselves in whatever degree that you wanted to. And it just created a whole bunch of explosions. That is Lil Yachty from, is he from ATL?
He's from Atlanta, yeah.
Yeah, like you able to be him. So don't tell me that you ain't never heard of him. Tell me that ain't where you won't make your music from. Because I can tell that.
Yeah, I don't think
you ain't making Cass music.
Heard of him. He just said he never paid attention to him.
Yeah, you ain't making cash music. Like they not your influences. Elton John is obviously more of an influence to you, as you say.
Well, I almost feel like he said that Dre, there was a certain arrogance that Dre had that,
He won't.
which I done kind of been in the A and ran into Dre a couple times, and he done always been kind of like, what's happening? You know what I'm saying? Not like whatever. Like this early though. This like 2003, whatever. But
Right.
I can't. That's almost like me saying I grew up in Miami and I ain't pay attention to Luke.
Right. Or I ain't pay attention to
Right.
Trey.
And, and I'm talking about during now kids growing up. I think kids growing up in Miami now,
They
like
don't
if you
know.
15, you don't know, but like I think our demographic, if you grew up in Miami, for you to say like you ain't pay attention to Trick or you ain't pay attention to Luke or you didn't pay attention, because even though during that time I'm a big Ice Cube fan, I'm a big, like I said before, I'm a big Scarface fan. I'm listening to a lot of West Coast. I'm listening to Snoop. I'm listening to Dre. I'm also listening to a lot of East Coast. Like I'm listening to Gangstar. I'm listening to all these guys. But at
Shout
the
out
end
to
of the
the
day,
God Guru.
Guru, right? But even during that time, I'm still listening to what's in my backyard. Like Luke was on the radio heavy. You know what I'm
Heavy.
saying? JT Money and the Poison Clan, like they heavy.
Heavy.
Home team, they heavy.
Also freshman year album that knocked the nigga head open. JT Money album freshman year.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And
So all these people, they, unless you just weren't really into music like that, and then I can say, okay, I get it. I get it. But you got to remember now, there's no way I grew up in Miami and can't say that I didn't pay attention to Luke when Luke, the reason why motherfuckers could say what they want to say on the album.
right.
Luke
Whether
is
you
the
know it or
reason for the
not.
parental sticker. Luke, really the one that went to the Supreme Court about this shit. You know what I'm saying? And I really don't believe he get enough credit in terms of just making it to where hip hop, as we know it today, would not be what it is if he lost that case.
It would
Can't
definitely
just
be a form of it that people would be whitewashing the hell out of it. It wouldn't have been the cultural influence that it would have either took longer or never would have been, because maybe somebody else come behind it to do another case where they try to break these free speech laws open. But
yeah,
it don't get to be the friction against culture that allows you to get stronger as a culture and build. If it wasn't for Luke to go out there
yeah.
and a nigga from Dade throw both hands in the point in your face, pussy nigga, what? You know what I'm saying? We coming, we gonna go, nigga. We gonna get arrested on Hollywood Boulevard on US 1 right in Hollywood. We going down. Come get us. This is
Even
the culture that raised us. And I
right.
wish all of y'all to get out the same motherfucking car and
Get out
stop
the car.
riding down your own motherfucking street and doing your own shit again in
Some of y'all,
heavy doses.
I really believe like some of them need to just walk. Cause when you walk, you observing. You gonna look
Some of
around. You
y'all
gonna
niggas need to be walking. Talk that
okay.
talk, man.
Y'all need to walk, boy.
Y'all motherfuckers
Cause
need to be walking.
this shit passing y'all by. Y'all in these cars, y'all just trying to get where y'all need to get. But you need to walk and admire the scenery. Be influenced by something that that's not on the radio. Be
Right.
influenced by something that ain't on TV. Cause that's where your creative process gonna happen. Spending that time with yourself. And then you could be yourself. You spend time with yourself, you could be yourself, you'll be comfortable with being yourself in front of the world. But when you ain't comfortable with who you are, you're gonna mimic everything that you see.
And it ain't
I do.
you.
It ain't you.
And so it's
I, I
gonna
was
be
talking.
hard to do.
I was talking to some jits, and I said, "Hey, man, they was like 15, 16. This was a couple years ago. What separates you from your peers? Like, and I ain't talking about your name, your height. I'm just talking about like I ain't talking about physical characteristics. I'm talking about how you carry yourself, what you look like. Y'all dress the same. Y'all wear y'all hair the same. Y'all like the same girls. Y'all like the same. Y'all smoke. Y'all doing the same drugs. Y'all doing. So where's the individualism? Individualism in society don't exist. And then so many people try to be different that all y'all motherfuckers end up looking the same.
Right.
Individualism is a lost art. Like just being yourself is a lost art. Like that in itself. They talking about music is a lost art. Like the making of music, the quality of music. They
Or
stand off of
creativity.
actually creativity, but actually just people being themselves is a lost art. If you be yourself, like the creativity gonna come.
It's a skill for some people that need to be developed, just like in the skill of walking. It's like you have to walk in yourself and fall and then see that you being somebody else. It's like, nah, I need to get back up and be me again. It's too much,
Yeah,
like you say, replication is what people do in an effort to try to succeed because they've seen it happen before versus embodying, taking that and then ingesting it, then re-expressing it through you. And you
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Even tying back to the original point, can Reebok do that? Can they reinvent or embody what used to be and what is and bring something out that could possibly move the culture forward in the future? Or will they jump in the car and try to be like every other nigga? You know what I'm
I
saying?
think they could do it. I think there's a lot of creatives out there. I think there's a lot of untapped talent. I think there's a lot of creatives that are undiscovered. You just got to be willing to give them a chance. And if you tap into a creative that's gonna bring you something that don't look like off white, but you like it, I think you just need to be willing to take that chance on that person. You know, success is not success is not something that's going to happen overnight. And really, I think true success is just doing what you're going to do. And whether you sell a million units or you sell 100 units, like as long as you're comfortable and you can look at what you create and not feel like, damn, I just did what everybody else is doing. I think in terms of like creativity, I think that's success. But I'm not a fool. I also understand that, this shit is money driven.
Yeah. You ain't spending 2.4 billion on a pet project, you
So
know.
maybe there's something that they have cooking that we know nothing about.
Yeah, I give
Maybe
them that.
maybe
I give them that more than definitely like I know it all because I know nothing. Once I got it, like I got the news like everybody else. I was not sitting in on the meeting and was like, "Hey, P and L with Reebok."
I think we give P. I think we need to give Master P. If it's true that if he's really trying to buy Reebok, I think based on his history, I think based on who he is, I think we need to give him credit and give him the benefit of the doubt and
Oh
say, hey,
yeah.
he can definitely turn that into something.
Now how
Um,
about this? Now let's just talk style period with P because P has a certain particular style. And P was the creative designer, the head of creative consultant behind this brand. Did what I'm saying? We're gonna have some rap snacks type situations, some P puffs. What
hey,
he what they can't
Raps
do is do
great.
that though. When I say rap snacks, I don't mean and I didn't mean to say rap snacks. The first thing didn't come to my head. But like P can't take a Nike shoe and call it a Reebok shoe, like he did
Right,
with the when he would have did with the cereal. That's what he
right.
cannot do. He cannot get in that other nigga car and act like
Nah,
he just gonna ride. No, you cannot do that. You have to. You just like you say, whether you sell 1 million or you sell 100, every time you look at that thing, you got to be like, I did that, nigga.
hey, Lloyd Banks one time said this shit could get uglier than a masterpiece sneaker. Nah. I want to say that was Lloyd Banks. You
It
know
could
what
have
I'm
been.
saying?
That was whoever said it. It was accurate. I just want P out of the design meetings. That's what I'm just saying. I want P out of the design meetings. I want him to let people who have the who Nike didn't give a chance, all them people who they was like, no, we're gonna go with Virgil or we're gonna go with Jerry, and those people who was just under the give them
I
people.
think they need to,
I'm gonna
I
buy the
think I,
first one regardless.
I
I hate
think
to cut you
I
off.
think I think if this is a real thing, they need to hire Chris Brown.
Who?
Chris Brown. They need to hire Chris Brown. Like if you want a creative, if you want a designer, cause I, I ain't really on social media, but a lot of the people who who I look at, they page is public, so I can just go to it.
Yeah.
And I know Chris Brown, he was trying to shoot, design ideas that he had to Nike and the Jordan. And I think like if I had a sneaker company, I would definitely give Chris Brown a chance in terms of design because dude is a cold artist. I think he definitely got a vision for design, but even beyond that, he's like a co-artist, and he
Yeah.
had some ideas he would do with Jordan brand and with Nike. I don't know if he done had meetings with Nike or if they've talked, but I think that Chris Brown would. I think he has a vision, and he's in the sneakers, he's in the fashion, and he would definitely be somebody that I would, bring into a design meeting if that's really what you're trying to go at, and then also tap into like I said, that untapped talent is out there. Put them boys together and see what they can come up with.
Yeah. It's gonna be a matter of bringing in athlete and influencer and designer. If not the designer being the influencer or the athlete being the main influencer. You're gonna have to have a draw to bring just the common eye to it. Then you're gonna have to have a draw to bring the fashion eye to it. And kind of putting them two together, the synergy is gonna make.
Motherfuckers got to look at, they got to make Reebok be the Fonz. You know what I'm saying? From Happy Days. The Reebok need to be the Fonz. They got to be the cool kid with the leather
Yeah,
jacket on it.
yeah,
Body gravitate.
yeah,
They got to be that because
yeah,
Nike, like yeah, they already a behemoth.
yeah,
Adidas already got Beyonce. They got Yeezy. They
yeah,
got Pharrell. So Reebok, you gotta look at them like they the Fonz. They the dude that they gonna be the brand that's gonna lean on the lockers by themselves, and people gonna come to them. Like they gonna gravitate. You ain't gotta holler at
yeah.
you ain't gotta at females because they gonna just gravitate towards you because of your look, the leather jacket,
They might
the hair
need to
comes
look
back,
at, yep, they might need to look at smoking cigarettes in the white tee,
and a white tee. You
rolling
know
them
what I'm
up in the
saying?
sleeve. You know what I'm saying?
That
That's the
that they
truth
gotta
though.
be the
They have to set
gotta
themselves
be
as being the cool kids, and it all go to who are you going to associate yourself with? Um,
exactly.
what influencers, what athletes, and even if you have to stay athletic, but the whole lifestyle component of it, you need to make sure that you are not like with Under Armour. Their thing is they over performance right now. They losing the
Yeah,
athleisure battle. They have zero
yeah.
in that. They zero fight in that game. So don't let
Because you're
yourself
not
get
wearing your
too caught
curry.
up
You're not
one way or the
you're
other.
not gonna wear your curries to the movies. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
no. You wear them curries. You plan on hitting from 35 feet or better. You know what I'm saying? It's about deep water action with them curries on. You know what I'm saying?
Now, the Jordan brand, we can look at them and look at the past few signature designs and say, hey, they focused on performance. But Jordan brand has the luxury of doing that.
Yeah.
Plus, Jordan brand, their catalog in terms of like being the first sneaker that was stylish and performed on the court, they already had that. Like Tinker Hatfield, he had that vision. Like, man, whatever Mike like, whatever his interests are, we gonna design his sneaker after that. So,
Hmm.
hey, they got that. They already that's that shit that Nike got.
Yeah,
They
that
they was they
designer,
was
that
forward thinking.
synergy
Yeah,
between somebody who young and got ideas, might like, yeah, I want to do this. I like this. I like this. I want to do this. And there's somebody who can take that and turn it into a artistic creation. You know what I'm saying?
the
Whether it's
weird
a
thing
shoe
about
or
Nike is
a
that
song.
or a song. like Nike is a rebel company. Like they took a chance with signing Kaepernick. That shit could have went left, but it didn't.
Mhm. But they're a monster enough to have turbulence going on in a certain sector without it shaking the whole machine. I don't think there's no way Kaepernick wasn't going to take down the NFL because that was a false narrative. I don't think the narrative of Kaepernick being able to take down any corporation because of his political stance was real. It was all, I won't say it was all definite, but it feels as if it was just another narrative to use in order to move the whole niggas y'all behind and y'all need to work your way up story.
That was the play.
Yeah.
The play was never to take them
Yeah,
down.
it's always you
The
from
play,
behind story. Whatever however it go.
that's the play.
Yeah.
Like that has to be the play.
Yeah.
Until we on even ground, the play is gonna always be we support what y'all against.
Mm-hmm.
Turbulence can only push Nike forward. Turbulence can only like any type of disruption is only gonna push the company forward because there's more people as we starting to see. There's more rebels than there are people that obey the rules.
Oh,
It may
definitely.
not seem that way, but it
Yeah.
is. It's
Yeah.
definitely
And
more
even if
people that
even if they think they so called uh following the rules, they express it in a very rebel tone. Like all these people, I'm not wearing a mask. I got freedom to do as I want, freedom of choice. You know what I'm saying? They think that they following these rules of freedom, but in a very rebel, you know what I'm saying, rebelistic way. Like tighten
rebel,
up.
rebel, rebel mentality. Like
Yeah.
it's the smoke and mirrors. It's the fact that ain't following the rules. Like you following the rules is you wear the mask and you just keep it moving. You being a rebel is saying you gonna use the very thing that the foundation of this shit is built on, and you're gonna turn it on its head, and then you're gonna use it to oppose what needs to happen in the moment.
Right.
They not dealing with what's happening in the moment. They taking the foundation of saying, okay, I got freedom of speech, I got freedom of this, I got freedom of that. They taking that foundation and they turning it on its head and they using it to oppose the very thing that's for the well-being of the country and the society as a whole.
That got them
So
to
that's
this point
that's
that got them to the point where they can say, I don't want to wear the mask. Like you get to say, I don't want to wear the mask because people follow the rules by not by well were a rebel and followed the rules.
right. But that ain't being a rebel at that point. That's just you trying to manipulate the system
Right.
and you trying to find loopholes and
Right.
all that shit.
Mhm.
At that point, y'all motherfuckers are rebels without causes. You
Mhm.
just a rebel without a cause at that
Yeah.
point.
Because you trying to your efforts are circling back to the same thing that you fighting against.
That you fight against. Exactly.
It's
So
like,
it's a moot point.
yeah, it's fruitless
It's a
labor,
moot
dog.
point.
It's fruitless labor. Thank you to my old boy Ed for coming through. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it was a
Dropping
pleasure
it on
being here.
us.
It was a pleasure being here, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate
It's
the invite.
the first of many that we gonna be doing. Rancher's Kid Podcast, Jungle Be God. And like Big Rube say, right on to the real, death to the fakers. Peace out.
We out.